date is January 24th. Time is 7 p.m. I'm Fred Lewis, the president of the University High School Alumni Association. We are going to start off with quick commentary. Just thank everybody for being here, taking the time out to be a part of this meeting. It's real important that we are thorough and on point with everything that we do and everything that we discuss. I'm going to start the meeting with a report. Presidents, this is my end of my first full elected term as the president of the University High School Alumni Association, which I appreciate and respect dearly. It's in my heart to do and lead this body in a way that's going to be conducive to development, leadership, inclusion, and promise for better days. And I would be totally remiss during this presidency if I would not speak on the people that really run this organization, which is Vice President Linda Rosin Holden. I'm sorry, Rosin Holden to my right.
Thank you.
That's done an incredible job for 2 years plus, and Linda Pritchard has taken on the leadership as the secretary that keeps this thing in order and in alignment. I myself have to address my tenure as being pretty much impactful. This has been a situation that was put on me because of improprieties with our previous administration as the vice president. And we'll go back and we'll just address how this day started and this position began. Back in October 1st, 2019, it was a information that Linda Cookie Jones brought into our executive meeting to give some clarity and some exposure to some improprieties that she assumed that was going on with funds. I was quickly advised, and Cookie had mentioned it to me, and Cookie's in presence here today. She mentioned it to me that we need to check out our financial situation. As the vice president at that time, the only people that had access to the financial documents would be the president and the treasurer. So over time, that mention came up, that notice came up over and over. And on this date of our emergency meeting that was called, there were documents brought in to our meeting, which the people that were in attendance was Gerald Christmas, Cookie Jones, myself, Lamont Reed, and a few others. I can't recall off the top of my head, but all the information that I will speak on is information that is in our minutes and very clear. So when we had the meeting, there was those documents that were brought in, and it showed gross negligence in funds that we had not had the opportunity to dive into because the statements weren't in our possession. Someone brought those in, and at that point, it was identified that these bank statements showed a variety of transactions that are not within the realm of any not-for-profit organization. There are paid phone and cell phone payments, car payments, rent payments, and one payment was given a check to Denise Rutherford for $650. These are things that were very alarming and disturbing. At the time, we addressed it, and Denise Rutherford, who's not here tonight, she agreed that she did receive this check. She also went on to say that two different expressions of what happened is that she received a check from Lamont Reed, which she did not look at on the front of it and identify it as a check from the account of the University High School Alumni Association. Then the other story that I heard from her is that she assumed, and I think she mentioned this during that meeting, that the University High School Alumni Association agreed to pay her mortgage, which I found these things pretty much absurd and just delusional. During that meeting, Lamont Reed attended, and he confirmed that he had done some irresponsible things with funds, and the check was one of them. During that meeting, we voted as an executive team to remove, actually Lamont decided on his own to remove himself from the capacity of president. And as the vice president, I was elevated to the position of president. On that day, we dispersed, and I thought it was extremely important that we have a meeting to discuss our moves forward. So I called, and I attempted to call and email and text to find all the parties that were still on the executive team to have a conversation about what our steps would be and where we would be going from this point. Days went by, week passed, and I never received any kind of confirmation for meetings that I set or responses to the emails that were sent out. The only people that had access to the accountability for our finances would be the president at the time, Lamont Reed, and the treasurer. We, as an organization, it is required for the president to hold the institution in highest regard and carry on the bylaws and our understanding what the process and the existence of this organization should be, which is supporting, leading, educating, and advancing the school districts and our alumni base to the highest level possible. It was weeks later, and Lamont Reed was very dejected by this transaction and these series of events.
Can you repeat that?
Lamont Reed was very rejected by the fact that these things had happened, and he expressed that to me over and over. Unbeknownst to me, Lamont called me a few weeks later and told me to meet him because he wanted to make good on some of this restitution for the money that was improperly spent. And I said, Lamont, I cannot take any money from you, but you can meet me at the bank and make this deposit for those activities. And we spoke at that time, and he accepted the consequences from those actions. It wasn't until later that we received the totality of what was involved in the money that had been uh, wrongfully used in our account. And that was because only people that were on account was Lamont Reed and the treasurer. So we had to go through the bank and start a new account. We had to have meetings that had it documented that those individuals no longer on the account, so we can have a new start and be allowed to look at the transactions and some history. And we only, at that point, can only go back a year or two. And from that, it was just more information of monies on activities that were just under the thought process that I couldn't even comprehend that it would happen over and over. So we had meetings and it went on until 2000, where there was no 2022, I'm sorry, 2020 is when, after months and weeks of reaching out to people to get some understanding, it was in my only move to appoint Rosalind Hogan as vice president, Linda Pritchard as secretary, and Marion Reed as treasurer, to maintain the validity and the transparency of the organization. It was very hard coming into this situation with the love of all these people in the room that I grew up with. But we have to think bigger, and we have to think more into the future of this organization. So we moved on. There were conversations, Linda Cookie Jones expressed that we dissolve the organization, and I couldn't find any reason for that. And I never could understand why would alumni organization be dissolved. What was there to dissolve for? What was that about? Was there more things that we didn't want to find out or didn't want to be discovered? I don't know. So we moved on. We moved on with our administrative team and had a phenomenal success with what we do and how we move.
Yeah, I apologize.
And we
you gonna keep disrespecting family, bro.
we are, and we moved on and began soul searching, finding individuals. The main thing is finding individuals that were going to be conducive to success and the growth of our organization. So in 2020, we started a campaign. We started doing a lot of things. We began to think and collaborate on what we need and what we haven't had. So we had a big input of new membership, reaching out, having some diversity. Over that year, in those years, we started programs like U2U, which is a collaborative group meeting with alums that have done incredible things that came back. We brought back the bonfire here at Hema Park that we haven't had in 30 years. We've been diversified. We've had, every year we've given out several scholarships. We were able to collaborate with All Nations Church when we had the massive flooding. And from our alumni base, was able to raise $21,000 that we gave back to the community. We were able to give $8,000 to those impacted students at University City. We featured artists, book writers, a variety of alums, mentoring, school engagement, and we put ourselves on a track to be unprecedented and be a alumni base that's second to none, as we have been all of my life. This year I reached out to Mr. Gary Boyd, and we collaborated on a homecoming that would be something we never had. this year where we brought in national recording artists. We had events for a week. We had a committee of people that were from classes of 67 all the way to 2012, that we embraced the notion that we can be as great as you should be as an organization. That went over overwhelming. And I reached out to Gary. I said, we need some new energy. We need some direction that I cannot provide. Even though I could run a second term, and Rosalind and Linda could, because we had
I
one,
can't.
you couldn't?
I didn't
Oh.
graduate from UC.
Okay. So we chose not to just because the massive amount of time and energy it takes to just bring love to an organization. We ran into situations where individuals and groups wanted to be in the organization, the University High School organization, alumni, UCD High School alumni organization, but didn't want to support it. Chose to try to start another faction to go against it, but wanted to be in office and hold positions back in the Alumni Association. Never trying to get back engaged, which I reached out to everyone that didn't have anything to do with money to come back, be whole, and keep moving. And when I've talked to people, but it's always been that fraction where we never could get over. But why I'm here today is because my term is over, it's expired. I gave my all, my soul, all the love that I can muster up to make this thing successful. But I'm so glad that this day is here. Because now I can help the next president move forward and let them be the bullseye. Because I am.
That sounds lovely.
Hey, like my man just walked out, I ain't gonna do this no more. That stuff doesn't matter to me. That's the kind of stuff you deal with when you're the head of the organization. And I'm built for it. But I'm so glad that we found a collective group of people over last several months that are willing and able to move this and make this a transcending move for this organization. And it should be black and white, older, younger, people that are involved in corporate world or the folks that sit on the street. Everybody's you city. And we need to embrace everybody. And that's what I've tried to do as much as I possibly could. I've never rejected anything or anybody, and I always embrace coming back to the fold. But moving forward, I think we've laid the blueprint for something sensational. Make this organization that would be everybody should be proud of and be very productive in our community. I love what I do and I love what I've done. And if I had to do it again, I would. But my love for you city is big and I need to move and let something else make a wave. And if I would be totally supportive in every capacity possible to make this transition. So tonight, I think we have, what do we have after?
Presentation of the nominee.
Presentation of the nominee. And another thing, I don't understand, over the years I've been in this capacity, I've been really open, because I don't need to shine in this capacity. And I've always tried to be, because of the activity that preceded me, I know I had to be on point, because everybody's gonna look, and you wondering what's going on, and there's gonna be a whole lot of stories that don't make no sense. But when you look at it and follow what we have done, and not me, these folks have done as a team, is extraordinary. It's more than I ever imagined could happen. And we're at the place I think we need to be moving forward. So, in saying that, we had an election process. We had one when I was elected the first term, that's electronic information sent out. There's rules and regulations and structure that's in place, period in life. But for some reason, folks just don't understand that. I don't know if they can't read it, they're not paying attention to it, but we need to have a process and be structured. So in saying that, let's have Mr. Gary Boyd. I think he's
He's the only person on the ballot
He's the
tonight.
only person on the ballot because of lack of will, effort, or knowledge. But it could be no better person, because I asked him to help. He was concerned before, but he's been in the loop. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a boy I love, all my life, and has integrity, and will do the right thing for everybody. So in saying that, I want to give Mr. Gary Boyd the floor to give us his presentation.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. To everybody that's watching, hey you all, and to everybody that's here, thank you all for your time. Thanks for coming out, right? I will just say that it is a great honor and a privilege to be here with you all and to be a person that is considered to run for the office of what I think and what I was brought up to be, and that is U City High School. I am a U City and everybody says U City High to the day I die. And so from the 6800 block of Roberts and University City, I greet you all. From the days of Pershing Elementary School, I greet you. From my days at Brittany Middle School, Blackberry Lane, I greet you. From my days at Hanley, I greet you. From my days at U City High, I greet you. And most of all, from the city of University City, as I bring my proclamation forward, as I was elected, selected, and vetted to go into the U City Hall of Fame. These are two of the things that are so near and dear to me. And for those of you all who may not know me, I am U City High, born and raised, but most of all, I have been working diligently, and not just when the homecoming came this past year, but I was the chairperson of one of the U City fairs. But most importantly, what I'm most excited about is my commitment and my love to the greatest class that there ever was. This will be University City class of 1982. This is it. I'm sure that you'll see the people over here. Gerald, that you need to look. So you see the people here from the class of 82. And we see this, and I say this with love, but with a lot of affection. And the fact that for 40 some odd years now, I've been the chairperson of our U City class of 1982. And we have seen to it that we've had a 10-year reunion each and every 10 years. And so these people here, these are the people that even when I try to say, don't somebody else want to run? Can't somebody else do this? They say, we support you. And we look at your direction, and we are here to help and support for the good of the order. So when we look at this picture, the good part is togetherness. And the bad part, sometimes we say, it's people who were here who are no longer with us. They were on this picture. So when we have our reunions, sometimes that's what we have to deal with. What happened, and what will we do, and what are we doing to keep those people lifted up? So I ask everybody to know, one of the most treasured things that I always have with me is a Dow yearbook. One of the persons on our committee, then another person said, one of the biggest things that they did was never take a U City picture. And so therefore, you can't go back and you can't make history up. If you weren't there to take the picture, now that you're 20, 30 years older, 40 years older, and your kids are looking through the yearbook saying, Mama, Daddy, where are you? Mama and Daddy was probably in the smoking lounge. We don't know. But we know that they was not in the picture. But that's my whole thing tonight. I need everybody to be in the picture. I need everybody to be in this game called U City High to the day I die. Big and bold, black and gold. So we say, how do you get in the picture? Well, first, you gotta cut it. We've had so much crap, so much animosity, and so many people that say that they love U City, but the only time when they want to show U City is when somebody dies. And I'm sure that Mr. William C. Harris at the funeral home has the receipts to show how many people we had to set chairs up for, because they're here, they're there, they're to support the dead and not the living. I am saddened that tonight we don't have people in this room, that we had to outgrow the room because people aren't in a position to say, I care. And I'm not speaking on people who have given their all. Maybe somebody couldn't have a babysitter. Maybe that I'm talking about when we come together. I think that we come together for the wrong thing in its entirety. We got to come together for some right things. And we got to have some opportunities for people to come together so that this can live on. I know when we had the opportunity to work with the homecoming, I was surprised when I said, I think that all meetings should start with the alma mater. And there's so many people who don't even know what it is. And I think that when you get away from the basics, that's kind of what happens, when things like that happen. And so when you begin to hail to U City High, and somebody would say, well, you know what? I didn't know about that hail to U City High thing. Where was it? Did they tell it to us? Maybe they just said it to the people who didn't look like us. Well, guess what? All you had to do was open up your book, right? And all you had to do was go to it, and you'll see that the words, hail, U City High, all hail to our old golden black. Hail to U City High, our friendship may she never lack. Ever faithful, ever true, as we raise our song anew. All the days we spent with you, all hail U City High. That's what we gotta do. We gotta hail U City High. We gotta be faithful, and we gotta be faithful to U City High. Now the good